When you make a decision that you want to increase the academic rigor in your classroom, one of the best ways is to include a meaningful turn and talk. Turning and talking allows scholars to access information in a very different way, a least invasive way, sharing ideas between peer and peer, and then also giving you a chance to gather informal data before you share the data with the class. And so in this instance, data is not numbers or quantifying measures. Data is actually the information that's being shared, the words that are being discussed during your classroom conversation. But how do you do it and when do you do it? Turning talking is not as easy as it sounds. Oftentimes, teachers fall into pitfalls of asking very, very small questions, recall questions, knowledge questions that only hit the lowest level of balloons. The best turn and talks are the most meaningful conversations that happen through turn and talks are when we as educators hit analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. So here's how it looks in practice. Instead of asking a question such as, what does this word mean? Turn and talk with your partner about it, or turn and talk with the person next to you and decide which operation should we use to solve this problem. You may want to ask questions such as, how is this idea different from this idea? Or how does the ideas that we saw in chapter 1 relate to the ideas that we're seeing now that this character has evolved and developed over time? Or in history, we may want to discuss how is imperialism as defined related to what we're currently experiencing in the United States. Then you set your time. Turn and talk about this idea for the next 30 seconds. As scholars are turning and talking and having those conversations, you as the educator is actually walking around, listening carefully to what's being said. You want to gauge from your most high-level vantage point where are the misconceptions and where are the true conceptions of what you want to convey in your classroom period. Then you appraise it. You let scholars know, I'm going to have you share this idea. I want you to share this idea. You bring the class back together and you have those scholars that have either the misconception or the actual true conception share the idea. If your intent is to really get to the heart of the lesson, only go with the scholars that have the truest answer closest to what you want. But if you want to encourage some healthy debate, hear the misconception first, and then have the scholars that have the correct answer appraise what the first group said. That's when turning and talking comes alive in the classroom. Turning and talking is also one of the most meaningful ways for you to gather data about who's truly with you and who has this ongoing understanding about the knowledge that you want them to develop in class. Tune in next time for the Miss Pierre and Mr. Silver Instructional Practice 101 Toolkit.